Morning, Miguel. How you doing? Hope you're doing good this morning. Looks like everyone betting that this thing would go down to 575 to open today is wrong, and so we need to pay attention to what the price action, now that we're actually getting the open of price for Monday here, we can actually pay attention to it. Let me get you guys those daily expected moves in the bottom right corner real quick. I just forgot to take a little screenshot here. Let's get you guys those moves so anyone that comes in can find them very, very easily. We like that. One moment here. There's your daily moves. Daily expected moves. Okay, good morning, good morning. How dare you make me spend 3 hours of my weekend thinking about stocks? I hate it, Richard. Isn't that terrible? Well, everyone was just reading into this like, oh my god, this has to be a crash with 100% certainty. A lot of people talking in absolutes when talking about this type of stuff coming up on Monday. You are seeing a decent sized drop, but what overall is the most likely thing to take place here? Well, if we remain in a bullish tilt, and really, let's talk about the 2 hour first. Really, it's so strange because the 2 hour, in order to really say the 2 hour wants to go down dramatically, you have to lose this low. And is that really on the table for this week? No. So I assume we're going to see some ping ponging around actually in this type of area. With this type of open, now we can read into it and say, okay, we're still in the weekly expected move. We're not seeing some kind of 95% line in the sand get tagged, anything like that. We can start a downtrend, right? We can start a downtrend in some way. But we also will be leaving behind another gap here. So one thing to watch here from the 2 hour is the other side of things, right? Not everything is just, we don't only do price action here. We look for our indicators to give us those hints. And what is the 2 hour in regular trading hours overall saying? Well, it's saying if the 2 hour dips down like this, it can curl up into positive territory again before confirming back down. Now, I think you're going to see some kind of boom, boom, boom type push. You might even break this low and set up the lower high in some way. But you could also do this, not break that low, curl up, try to get to like 600, and then set something up that's pretty bad, right? We still want to understand that this is overall positive, right? The 2 hour is very difficult to say like super negativity. It really is. 2 hours is going to have to like break completely through here, then get down to this type of level down here. All right. So that's going to take a lot of work, and we're not seeing that work get done in the pre-market necessarily. We're just seeing an open that's coming down past the first point, right? This is the downtrend for the 30-minute that could be beginning, but it's not taking out like critical levels. If you're even looking at this 30-minute, you would like it to be taking out this. This would be the thing you want to take out to really signify downtrend, right? So if we're able to hold up here and figure our stuff out, we'll look for those little signs that, hey, we're actually going to maybe come back from this. I think you have the chance to like react up, maybe even in the morning, to test the daily expected move, right? We see those all the time where you make the move outside, you test it, then you go lower. And then down here's where we really have to pay attention. Like, are we breaking this low? Are we opening up that pathway? Or are we just going to curl back up and actually end up taking care of this gap first? Right? So we want to be very, very, very reactive, which is great because our channel, we like to do what? Trade like water, right? So if we're trading like water, this should overall tell us, okay, this isn't that necessarily that bad right now. We need to see it get bad, right? You need to see it get bad. And that might take a long time here, right? This could take all the way up into like, I don't know, if they want to crush the VIX before VIX expiration, if they want to put that thing down at lower levels to really reprice that thing, or do we want to see just downside, right? So we'll look at price as it opens up. It looks pretty good. I think that the daily expected move is telling you have a 68% chance to get back into that by the end of the day. If you're going to use that early on in the morning, you can reject from it. The zone that you will be paying attention to. If you want to draw it up, you can draw it up, right? But it's right in here, and you're saying, okay, what are we overall doing? Well, we're tapping into this zone, right? We're just tapping into this zone, which means this thing could just come back. So what you're looking for here is boom, and then a rejection, and then this is the time where you can actually be like, okay, we broke the low. Now I can see if we can take a little trade down to here, right? That's how day traders would like this. For us, right, for people like me who want to take a position, this would mean once we get to this level, regardless of if we break it or not, I need to see if we curl back up, because that can be the kind of tricky thing that can go take care of this gap, right? We're too close to the gap now. You kind of wanted that massive gap if you wanted to be really bearish, right? You wanted the massive gap to be bearish. You wanted this to be like, bam, curls back up to retest and then goes again. That doesn't seem to be taking place for the time being. We'll see how price acts over the next few hours. And then we will be live later today as well towards the close if you guys would like to join us. I just got rid of the borders for these things. They were bugging me. They were coming into the price and I couldn't see wicks and things like that. XLV. XLV, if we go check on that for a moment here. You're saying what kind of divergence? Daily divergence here for sure. My goodness, XLV. Wow, that is pretty crazy. That is a great look. 2 hour, do we have something? Ooh, you don't necessarily have 2 hour yet. So have you done the thing to come back yet? That's my question to you. Well, no, you haven't. But you could be close. This means that is the trade right now, or is the trade like, hey, we confirm daily divergence, we get that to pull back, and then we go to the upside, and this is the actual trade to get in? Or you're just looking at the daily chart going, I like this. I like this. Price is doing good things. See what it does today, and then make a decision. And then you can probably hold a position here and feel pretty good. I want to look at the weekly too. That's unfortunate. The weekly was very close to setting up these divergences. So what overall is this? This is going to be, and look at this, we even broke through. This is going to be very interesting because you tried to show pathways higher, then you just dumped. So this will be very interesting how we behave if we get a test of here on the weekly time frame, right? Because you can kind of see this. Look, boom, goes up. What do? We lose this. We lose this, right? So we go up to retest, and in the shorter time frames, you're going, okay, positive trend. Then we lose it with what? Lower high on the shorter time frames. And then we keep turning down. Okay, so this is very nice. This is actually very, very nice. And this means that as of right now, the trend is saying we continue. But you're seeing some signs here of like the first inclinations of, hey, daily divergence, right? Which means a weekly could turn up, which means you're probably going for a test in here, right? You're probably going for a test in here, which means if everything goes well, you would like to blow past that. If you hold that as resistance, that can be bad again, right? Always paying attention to when that higher low does pop up. But you are seeing a pathway down. So if you want to really get more downside, you don't necessarily want to take this out on the daily time frame. You would want to see like boom and then react down again. But you have divergence right now, so you're very likely to try to take out that high and end up in this block. So I would say like what? If we draw the zone, it's probably going to be like 145. Let's take the whole thing. 146.86. 146.86 would be a great level to get to, but you want to start paying attention at like 143.83. And that's if everything goes well. You have like a gap up here and stuff like that too. So just be aware of it. But yes, this does have daily divergence. This looks pretty nice. The 2 hour doesn't have that divergence just yet. Okay. Now you can make higher lows and things like that. That would be, we're able to break through here. Look for the higher low if you break through there. Yeah, it looks pretty good though. It looks like it's going to attempt to turn around, right? That's what we pay attention to. We look for the things that say, hey, we're going to attempt to cross through and make that price action go back to bullish right now. Hey guys, I have 4 minutes and I just have to pee all of a sudden. So I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. And reacting, thank you so much. I hope that a lot of people who didn't see that video, I know it was like 2.5 hours, but we really broke things down to a T to tell you how things get bad, right? Tell you how things get bad. And we even mentioned what's going on right now. We mentioned what's going on right now. So we're looking for that rejection, possibly even this morning. All right, let me go use the restroom real quick and I'll be right back. I want to do it before the open. All right, sorry about here we go. Real quick. One thing I wanted to do was look at that second standard deviation for the daily expected move. That's the weekly shit. 587.07 is your 95% line. You actually tagged that. You tagged that way down here, right? We hit it down in here. You see how we're reacting up in the zone? Where do we find resistance? Ooh, right there, baby. Right there. You want that to continue. You can see how it's changing, right? You see how it's changing, especially in extended, right? Extended can clear up your thinking. I like regular trading hours for my trading strategies, but I'll still pay attention to this stuff. Boom, boom, right? And then lose it. Wom, wom, wom. Okay, so what are we looking for now to continue? We're looking for something like this, something like this. Very, very simply. I like to utilize, this type of stuff. I like to utilize the regular trading hours, but that means I think we're likely to see some kind of retest here this morning. Oh, shiz. GME just getting clapped. AMC not getting clapped, but definitely down. Where the heck is Amazon? I wanted to see where that price was at. Interesting. Anything that anyone on Patreon seeing is by that weekly expected move, shout it out, okay? 2 minutes until the open. Are you ready? Are your butt cheeks clenched? I hope it crashes, but I think the market's too strong. It's too strong. This is saying this is strength. This type of behavior now, you wanted the big gap down. You wanted some kind of massively bad news. Like this means, by the way, here, let's do SPX. This type of thing right now means that the best you might get is a tap into this upper area. You might not even, oops, on the wrong button. You might not even get to like here. So I think that's very interesting. Now, for the time being, we are opening up, seeing what's going on. Hold on one second. It's solid. Okay, now we look for that retest. Come into this type of area. This might take a few hours, by the way. I mean, look at your 5-minute now. Fucking hey, that thing is down there. You're looking for retest and this to continue to the downside. That's my opinion. I think you retest here. Maybe you come back into that move for a second, then you fall again. As we have shown the way lower, right? At least somewhat for the 30-minute, right? You'd rather be losing this to see major downtrend, but this is overall saying like, okay, we lost this, and if this is as deep as we go, right? If this is as deep as we go, well, then we should see a burst back into this type of area, and then we should use this as support, right? So if we're not seeing that burst up, then the trend will still be down until we get to that weekly expected move. Technically speaking, I made 2K in 30 minutes. Hey, we like that. That ain't bad. Let's talk about volatility for just a quick second here, how this could behave. So volatility, the level I think I was paying attention to, I think was somewhere around 1825. 1825 was what I was overall looking for. Look at the 30-minute, very, very positive, right? So we could come all the way back down. We could fill that gap, right? That would say, hey, we're still going up. I think we don't do that. I think we come into like 1850, 1826, I think was the exact level I was looking at, just so you're aware. But as of right now, the 30-minute, and I'm going to take this off of here. We know where this zone is, okay? I don't need that clouding the behavior here. Look at that. We even include, look at this, all the weekly expected move. If you didn't see the weekend video, 603.04 to the upside, 585.04 to the downside. You say minus 2% getting clapped? You're not quite there yet. You're not really the price action right now is not suggesting that we are going to see something crazy just yet. This type of price action, this leaves the door open to filling that gap before we see anything crazy, weirdly enough. Right? We talked about, hey, you could come down into here, but if you're not losing this, the 2 hour just swings back up. And so what we're going to be looking for is what price action we see down here. Do we actually break the low? If we break the low, we'll be looking for this. If we don't break the low, or you might be quick, right? It might just be that. I think now with the weekly expected moves, and as you're not seeing something crazy on Monday, you still want to be paying attention to that. I think you still need to figure your shit out in here. I think you need to go deeper, but that's a thought. We'll look at the price action and see. Good morning, Future House. How you doing? Always buying the dip. Well, you're in that buying the dip environment. Here you go. We can do our little 5-minute charts if we wanted to. But look at some other things, right? XLU, some good stuff, pulling back, right? This would overall be a 2 hour pullback is likely. You're likely to react into where? Well, you always want to pay attention to the gaps. But you also want to look for like, hey, where's this type of area? Okay, so we could just tap into like 80, 50, something like that. I think that's interesting. Here we go. Build, build, build. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom. Microsoft rising. Microsoft absolutely crushing it. Damn, really crushing it. Okay. Okay. So that means if that's really doing that, then we'll still pay attention to that gap above. Probably a little bit later on in the week, but we'll look for it. Amazon getting a bounce as well. Let me go look through some of these stocks and other things. The 10-year actually showed the pathway higher. You are getting that 2 hour divergence to hold there, though, and you have shown the pathway lower. So it's kind of like the 10-year yield has no idea which direction it wants to go. The 10-year yield has no idea which direction it wants to go. Because guess what? It said, I want to go down. Then it said, no, I want to go up. So right now, you're paying attention to what it is right now. But this really doesn't know where it wants to go. I think that means like, hey, watch out if you just give up this entire thing. TLT, looking over at TLT, this means TLT is down here. Why do we like that for TLT? So TLT looking kind of interesting. Why would we be paying attention to TLT there? Anybody? Bueller? 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 We're paying attention to TLT down here because 1, it's trying to set up the 2 hour divergence. 2, it's got daily divergence that was, oh, it's so close. It's holding on the MACD, just barely. Just barely. Look at the weekly expected move as well. Yeah, right around that level. And then you see this on your RSI. You're just barely holding a bunch of divergences here. This is kind of like a risky one, but I'd understand a risk to reward here for TLT. I really would. That means what the hell is going to happen with TLT? It means bonds might get some kind of buy coming in soon. Let's see. Let's see what things are priced at. Let me pull up my other charts. Let's look a couple weeks out. At what is it? 23rd. Let's look like next third, like the 30th. And TLT something like 88 is possible. Really, 88? Interesting. Oh. Interesting. I think TLT looks very interesting to me. Patreon members, if you understand the weekly expected moves, the monthly expected moves for TLT, also what you're looking for from TLT. TLT just overall showing the divergence there on the 2 hour. You also see the 10-year yield giving you the 4 hour right by the center line. So this is where if you collapse, it means you're really getting like hiccups back and forth. Right now it says positivity still, right? The price action as far as, I know it's a percentage. I don't really want to do price action here. But you are seeing TLT give you the signal of what? Hey, that price action could try to take back this level. Let's say 2 hour, right? What's the level we need to take back? Right here. Did we come across that high? Yes, we did it back then, and we lost it. So now you're looking for that snap, get above this type of level, right? Get to something up in here. If you see a strong move to get above this high, that's even better. Then you see something like this. That would be how you start to turn this thing around. So TLT could be turning around soon. Very interesting that TLT would turn around with that, possible Moody's downgrade, but you never know. All right, so from this level now we're starting to get that test in here. We're seeing if the downside will continue as of right now. You are seeing an explosion in price. Nothing quite bearish just yet. You're getting like a hiccup of bearishness, like a little hiccup. Okay, BS buy up. Well, you're below this level. You're always looking for the retest. This could be a retest or it building back because this isn't necessarily like bearish, bearish, bearish. I mean, you look at your indicator and you're going, you kind of see like it's kind of weak here. So we already said this morning, what are we looking for? We're looking for the retest, right? There's your potential retest coming. Okay, but in order to be bullish again, you kind of have to break through. You got to get through all of this. I mean, it's still overall leaning like it's kind of in that neutral area still. You're just seeing the shortest time frame. You're literally seeing the weakest confirmation, the weakest time frame show you the bad thing. And now you're kind of looking at a 5-minute chart, just going, okay, well, we're going to do this. Then we're going to reject maybe, go down to that weekly move. I don't know if that would happen on the 5-minute chart. I think it could extend for a little bit of time. Like we could just bounce around in here for a little bit. Then we see it come down. But now your potential retesting, and you're seeing if you're going to head lower. They're just getting retail traders to get back in. I'd probably agree with that. Right now, you are on the 30-minute. It does have that little bearish tilt, but you really want to be losing this. And then weirdly enough, down here, you want to see a bounce. Like, especially if you give up a decent amount of room. Like if you kind of ping pong here and you come like this, you'd really want to see that bounce up and then fail again. Actually, you'd probably want it to bounce in here and fail. So we'll move this zone as we see price keep doing things. For the time being, I'm not too inclined to do much with this yet. I'm not a day trader. I'm chilling. You think the 50 is going to get tagged? Where's that 50 lying? Let's see where both of those are at. Oh, the 50? The 50 would be super deep. Like I said, I think this will take 2 weeks. I think this will take 2 weeks. And all you have to see is like maybe this. I'm still leaning towards that. I don't think it's going to be one straight shot, right? I think it'll maybe take like 2 weeks. Bam. But if you're thinking 50, hey, that's fine. It can go down to that type of level. That would fill gap really quickly. But this is starting to do what? Starting to curl up. Starting to curl up. You see the direction here from the 200? Starting to go like this. Starting to go like this. So this would be a great level to test in here, but all in here is what I'm paying attention to. Yeah, I don't mind that. Let me turn those off for now. I just don't think like paying attention to a 50 is great. You want to look at that 50, see where it is, right? That's what we did previously too. We're like, we think you're going to go to reaction to the 50. When we say that, it's because price is also like there is also a certain price that we might want to tag there. Yeah, Nicholas. Just as long as you're not sitting there going, "Oh, this is a crash thing," then I think we did our job here, right? As long as you're not sitting there expecting like 400, 4,500 yet, it can build up to that, and we will talk about that when it comes. But for now, you're just chilling. I'm gonna get rid of this zone just so we can see clearly the daily expected move. You know that this is the zone that you're retesting that you can reject from. The heck? So if you didn't know, what I was doing when I was quiet early on in the day was I don't have any position for upside. And I had that small, like hedge size position that we talked about on Sunday. And so I was just getting rid of that position right away in the morning. I don't want to mess around with that. I just want to like make it, it's not necessarily something that's going to make me a ton of money or anything like that. Ended up ended up being good. I wanted it to be great. I was hoping you guys who were calling out 575, 570 or 565 gap down. I was hoping that would happen. That'd be great for me. So now I have no risk in the market. Totally risk off. Like just completely, just nothing. I'm inclined to look at TLT. Weirdly enough. Um, and I can pay attention to the 2 hour for that. I like TLT here. It's not showing me the signs of turning around, but I like to take some risk in a first early position. And if we see that turn around, I can hold on to that position. Right. That's what I would like to do. I'm still waiting a little bit, looking at pricing and everything. Nice to finally get some puts in the market. Damn. Now, where did we run into the first little hiccup up here? No, that's too high. That's too high. Let's look at monthly expected move too. If we go past this, look for monthly expected move too. And then weirdly enough, if you get above that, if you get above that, you can just continue this move. We'll see what happens, but we'll see if it's a test of the high. We reject again. Yeah, for the most part, though, if this would build up past here, that's a pretty good thing, unless like a flash move. Hmm. Crazy market. I'm sure day traders would kind of like this, actually. What do you think? Maybe green by end of day. I don't know about green by end of day. I don't think green by end of day. That's my opinion. I don't think green by end of day. Let me look at data we got coming out this week. Just remaining chill, 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 chill. A lot of Fed speakers before market open today. A lot of Fed speakers towards the afternoon. A lot of Fed speakers in the morning tomorrow and afternoon. Holy crap! How many Fed speakers? Like, what are you guys talking about? Nobody cares. And then we see existing home sales on Thursday and jobless claims, initial jobless claims on Thursday, expected to tick up from the previous of 229K to 230 to 231K. So initial jobless claims supposed to tick up. And then we have not a lot going on, to be totally honest, until we get FOMC minutes on Wednesday, May 28th. And the GDP growth rate, ooh, that's pretty disruptive there. The GDP growth rate, you know, you guys remember the GDP growth rate estimate here is supposed to be negative, forecasted to be negative 0.3. Previous was 2.4. We'll see the reaction there. You know, this is why those negative numbers, it's like, you know, oh, but it's fine because it's only negative zero point 0.1. We expected worse, right? And so they can make it sound good. It's more just what is price action telling us then? How is this going to be utilized? What happens after it? Okay, that'll be on the 29th, which is weirdly enough, that 29th and 30th is when I think we'll actually be basing out. I think we'll be done by the end of the month. I think all of this negativity that we see, if we even get it, right? I think you could still come up to here again, by the way. I think you could still go to potentially even 600. But even if we see that, I think we're going to see something bad. Retest, retest, retest. So far, getting to the upside of our zone. Going up to what? The monthly expected move. We really don't want to see this go much higher. You want this to kind of this could take time, though. That's what's crazy. This is happening very quickly. Very quickly. Okay, maybe it is a retest because we're happening very quickly. Crazy stuff. I just really figured this would take more time than this. That's why I'm kind of confused. Kind of crazy. Retest the yellow line. I think you're retesting more in this and here. And if that fails, then you potentially go down lower because you showed how you want to go lower. See that? See how we're below that? Yeah, you showed how you want to go lower. So I think this could. I think this has potential to be a easy little bull trap early on, but I'm not going to like bet against it yet. I'm not seeing enough good things. What'd they say, Noah? Trump's also speaking at the Rose Garden at 3 p.m. Eastern time, like 2. Should be down this much. Yeah, but you never want to discount the fact that that really didn't shake up the market too much, guys. I'm just going to tell you right now, that did not shake up the market, which means something else might, which means still in this area, just be looking at this, right? If that 2 hour is able to just confirm up at some point this week, I still think we sell off into like Wednesday. And then we have to see, are we taking out the low? Okay, if we take out the low, do we still have that chance to snap back to the new high? Yes, you do. That's the problem for the 2 hour. You have to lose this, and technically to be actually bearish on this 2 hour chart, you have to lose this. Like that's what we went over this weekend, right? Technically, the area where you're actually bearish is here. Right now, you're just seeing the 30-minute behavior. So the 30-minute behavior means anywhere in here, if we figure our stuff out and we see that new high come in, retest and go. And you actually can take out higher levels, right? The 30-minute is what we're watching in case this isn't some kind of bad moment, but instead it's actually good, right? We want to watch this 30-minute very closely, see if it's turning down, right? Doing something like this, and then just breaks through and goes, okay, we're back on the bull side again. Oh, and then we just hold up better and we just go to the upside. I know that's crazy after everyone's talk over the weekend on Twitter, but are you following price? Like, that's the question. Are you actually following price? Or are you following what, everyone with a cell phone says? Every single person has a cell phone. Everyone. It's kind of like, what is it? Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one. It would be nice to set this up before Wednesday. I think you are correct in saying that. It would be nice to see this kind of do a bunch of funkiness today, pop up, then see these type of levels get tagged. Then we start to roll like late Tuesday or something like that. I think that would be good. But you have not seen a clear pathway to downside just yet. The first level to lose is this. This is what you're paying attention to. So that's why we're able to reject and head lower. But overall, you're still like, do we show any pathway here? And does that pathway actually get rejected again and fall down? Right? And do we make divergence in here? What's going to go on? So you have a lot of time here. I'm not inclined to like try to do a bunch of big moves. I think if anything, I'm more interested in TLT right now. I'm really interested to see if this 2 hours actually going to cross, as the 10-year yield is kind of kind of rejecting at the highs here. Now it is doing that thing where it's like, okay, we were bearish, now we're immediately back to bullish on the yields, right? It's not a good thing, but you are seeing divergence on TLT, suggesting like, hey, this could figure its shit out soon. 30-minute, if you want to go this deep, it can continue. It can easily continue. Look at this. Bam. Right there. That's great. Tap into that. Continue the move. Right? You would like it to give up more than that, in my opinion. In my opinion, you would like it to come down into here. I would like to see this, then this, and then we set up that trap. We break that low. That's what I would like to see from the yields. Yields are a different story though. They really react to data. Like right away a lot of the time. But look at this gap. I mean, this is just a juicy gap right there. Bam, 86.33. And then you see if that can exceed through that level. See if it keeps going, exceeds that level. Ooh, that'd be so nice. More so, you're just looking for this though. Bam, right here. Here's the down move. Notice we never took this one out, so we made a new one. Bam, you want to take that out. And then you'll be the guy saying, while everyone's like, yields are screaming, yields are higher, you'll be the guy going, yeah, but they're going to come down. Unless we get like another news drop or something bad, but I don't think you see that in the signals right now. I think gold is interesting, but gold is still in a downtrend, right? We said this about GLD. I believe we said it yesterday. One, the 30 minutes showing you a way higher. See if it takes care of the gap first. But two, what are you likely to do? You're likely to come into here. What have you shown? You've shown only downside. Right? You see more downside actually too. But you're seeing some inclination of divergence and things like that, which means we can get a snap moment. But the crazy thing for the 2 hour here is you can't really be bullish until you're taking out key levels, because this is so sporadic for GLD. If you're looking at futures, it's probably a different story. You could probably pull up a 2 hour chart and see it a little different. Do you notice how you see it a little different? This is why looking at GC is good. Even I like to do this. You're overall seeing what? A low. You go up, and what do? You don't show that pathway down anymore. And now you just know, I want to take out this. But ultimately, you got to fight through a lot. You're going to have to fight through a ton. Because this could all be, where's the 4 hour? This could all be, which a 4 hour taking this back is great, but really it's like, I need to take that back. So this could literally just go up. Where's that gap fill? Oh, it's right at the dotted line. Okay, then it turns down. And then you see around here, is this a we can go higher type of look? Bam. Or is it just collapsing? All right. Is it collapsing? But 2 hour higher low likes to get those 4 hours going. So bam, let's get that 4 hour going, which means potentially people run into gold for a little bit this week. If we can take out that, not a bad look. Good build up. Apple is pretty much the only one underperforming. Apple is, yes. Apple going down dramatically. This is where you utilize weekly expected moves and things like that if you were bearish on Apple. Apple is going directly down right towards it. It didn't reach the weekly expected move. Most likely, if this thing's not able to build back above the gap fill, then most likely this will take that level. It's just a little bit lower than this wick, like a dollar or two. Now that people are getting nice and bearish, people are trying to pile it on. We can see the second dip, and then we can see like the FOMOers really, put in work. And this is what's, this is why this is such a good thing to trick people, right? They're expecting a big crash moment, but if you don't lose this low, you're fine. You're literally fine. All you want to see now is like, oh, we fool around, maybe see one more dip down into here, and you don't necessarily want to take out that weekly expected move this week. You want to see like ping pong and then go that way. That would still be the direction, by the way. You have not done the things you need to do. You have not seen this yet. If you see this, we can talk about it. And we would talk about what needs to happen to build back and what needs to happen to fall again. Because remember, that's a weekly expected move. 68% of the time you land here, right? 68% of the time you land right here. So if we're still seeing moves outside of this, we can take into consideration the percentages as well, not just price action. And then we can see, okay, are we breaking up to here, holding price and going to the upside? Okay, boom, there's my trigger. And then I go, okay, we're going to possibly, I would say 600 at that point. And then at 600, I'm actually kind of worried at 600. Right? You saw how fearful like people were of that initial Moody's thing, right? And now it just seems like, oh, the initial people who were fearful, there was no one else who was fearful, which I think is interesting. I think this market's just trying to trick people. And so I don't want to get tricked. So I'm not going to sit there and try to act like I know things, right? I'm not going to be an actor. I'm not freaking Tom Cruise or some shit. I'm sitting here going, yeah, it can go up, it can go down, but right now the trend is still up. We saw one slight pathway to break the critical level, but other than that, there is nothing bearish here other than that. Like, other than opening up the pathway to test down in here, there's nothing. So we have to be patient. If you're looking for the short opportunity, then you're looking for potentially, well, the risk to reward again, right? Patreon members and people who are paying attention, we look for, okay, if we doodle around down here for a long time, like a few bars, you come down like this, right? Towards the end of the day, maybe we see like, and then you just do this. You actually can go up into Wednesday, and that would be pretty crazy. That would be pretty crazy if we saw that. I don't know if I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning towards upside. I guess it would be kind of mid to end of week. And I'm only leaning towards that because of price action right now. Right now, technically, if you want to know what I'm leaning towards right now for this second, I'm leaning towards a test of lower levels, a little bit lower. But you're in a bullish trend and people are trying to get really, really bearish, and you're seeing a very, very, very slightly almost neutral to bearish thing on the 30-minute time frame, your smallest time frame if you pay attention to this one. That's my smallest time frame I pay attention to. So I would like this to reject now, go down deeper, convince people to short, 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 not lose this low, and then we'll get calls nice and cheap, right? Calls will get cheap here because everyone's going to be betting on a crash again, and you're just going to go, I have more information than you, and I know that we didn't lose this low, so there's no chance of that. If we lose the low, I'm not inclined to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that immediately. And maybe we just do some, this would mean if I do anything in here, like if I do anything this week, like in here, it'll probably be fun account. And then if we set up a signal, it'll probably be the hedge play again, right? If we do something like this and this, it'll probably be what? Oh, hedge at 600, the hedge size position. That would be more the 2 hour. If we're able to go, whoa, takes a long time, maybe fill gap, maybe come back down. Then you go up, and then you start to turn back down. This confirmation right here is when I would potentially risk to reward again. I want to see that 2 hour signal in real regular trading hours. Oh, we're really going up. Okay, good. This is good. This is actually better than what you expected. So still bullish now. Watch, now we're gonna like fade the move at like 590. 592.87. We're just gonna hit that and fade it. So take a glimpse at Palantir. Yeah, Palantir had to do some dramatic things to go down. This is not the dramatic things. This is not the dramatic things. You are seeing more down, more down, more down, but the 2 hour is holding up really, really well still. And so the 2 hour could literally, we could go like this. I mean, you are seeing pathways down from that 30-minute. So you're still looking for what? Maybe something like this, 118. And Patreon members can always look at those weekly expected moves and just see like, hey, is 118 on the table? Right? Okay. It's within the realm of reason. So 118 is on the table for this week. It's just what timing of the week is that going to hit? Early on? Later? Ugh. For some reason with the bearishness, I'm kind of inclined just a little bit later, but we'll see. Whenever it does it, right? I don't need to sit and look at it for an hour. If you get a big-ass daily pullback, that would be interesting. If you lose this, you see a lot of pathways down to what? Like 95, gap fill, bottom of the zone. Yeah. That's what I see there. I still see it as bullish. It hasn't shown me like super bearish on the 2 hour. I mean, I think your 30-minute could tell you a little something there, but if you just hold price well there, it's fine. If you retest up, you reject again. Hey, you head lower. You make the new low. Okay, you head lower. All right, we retest. We reject again. All right, you head lower. Until you see that higher low come in for the 30-minute. I don't think anything is bearish out there. Look at fear and greed index. Everyone's back in full force. Retail is ready to mortgage their house. That's facts. Should have got out first thing in the morning. The short squeeze continues. Yeah, we just needed a little fuel. And people are still shorting the upward move, by the way. Oh my gosh, people are still shorting the upward move, which I think like isn't the worst decision here as you've taken out this, right? They could end up being right here and you need to dip. Like I still. This is great. It is good. I still don't buy it right now. I just don't buy it. All right, we're coming into an inflection point here. As far as time goes, we're coming into that, last 30 minutes of the retail hour, that first hour of the day. So if we're not able to just like blow past, you'd look at shorter time frames at this point. Okay, 5 minutes just up. Looking for rejection at any point from this 5 minute. No rejection yet. We built back a lot. So it's starting to look like a lot less likely to take all of this out in the day. That's why I said this is too fast. So all you have to do here is like look at your MACD and go, wow, okay, so if that curls up, are we really going to make a divergence? Are we really going to do this? No, you're probably looking for higher low again if you're looking at a 5 minute chart. Especially if you curl up that 5 minute. Yeah, so the reason that we pay attention to the smaller expected moves. So what we should see this week, when you read into like, hey, we went into a time, you guys remember we had massive weekly expected moves, mostly down in these areas. They were really big, right? Big. They started to shrink, and now they're really small. This tells me, one, we shouldn't see a lot of crazy things this week. But two, as this gets smaller, it's kind of like that expansion, contraction thing. And so now you're going to see something most likely in the next week or like this week or next week, you're going to see something that spreads these out, right? Spreads these out. And what that would mean is volatility is most likely going to increase for a moment. That's why we're still leaning towards like, hey, a pullback, a bigger pullback is overall a better thing somewhere into this zone. Would be great. So you're reading into this. You mostly just want to read into it like the expansion goes into contraction, contraction goes into expansion. As far as it goes, you would read into that with IV. Why would IV be expanding? Well, it'd be expanding because volatility is increasing. So if volatility is going to increase, high potential to increase here, well, then you would say, okay, we are looking for the signs for something bad to happen. Now, the other side to that coin is when you get squeezes, usually you see those start to shrink up. And that's where you see either a big pullback or it just continues, right? You don't know. That's why it's very hard to call like a top in a short squeeze, especially one like this one. Right. This reminds me a lot of the bear market squeeze. Like one of the first ones was really, really rough. I think it was the second one. It was actually, I believe it was this one. This one was really hard to see, like how it was going to actually collapse. Maybe it was this one. Actually, I think it was this one. I think it was this one here because it didn't show you the pathway lower, and then it showed you the way higher, and then it started to collapse. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen, by the way. I'm saying that maybe this happens, right? I don't think we're in the same environment at all. I'm just saying part one to that might happen, where you kind of come above the level, you show something bad, and then people read into it like it's the same. History never repeats itself, right? It rhymes, and then you actually curl up into positive territory. But like I said, this could take 2 weeks. That could take weeks. All right, we have come into the highest point we really could get to before we reject. If we show pathways higher now, you're looking for higher low. It is a weird week to start off. Like, look at this. That's weird. You guys, this is not necessarily behavior you can really read into and have a conviction at this point. You would say, if we don't show a higher move, right? If the 5-minute, you would say at this point, has shown you the way down, then throughout all of this, it needs to show you the way up to continue to the upside. So it's just we didn't reject from the key levels, so now it's a little harder to read into because you could be messing around in here. So I don't think you have conviction of either way at this point. You're just looking at the trend and going, overall, it is bullish. And so you're going to have to see if the actual buying opportunity comes. I think your buying opportunities are simple, actually. I think it's like, hey, if we get up into here early on in the week, it's bad. Hey, if we get down into here early on in the week, hey, that's something that's fearful, but people are probably going to start to buy a ton of short positions, and then we're just going to curl up. We don't see that 2-hour divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. So I'm not inclined to be like, oh, yes, I'm going to take massive shorts. We also don't see the test of this lower expected move. So we don't have the information yet. You're just trying to jump ahead of the gun. Let the market come to you. It's not like soccer, right? A lot of time in soccer, they teach you like go to the ball, right? It's more like you're a winger and you're trying to hold as much space as possible and you have to let that ball come to you and you're hoping your teammate sends you a nice ping, pings it to you. You got to wait. I think you're at a level where you could reject, right, at any point throughout this, but you would have liked to see rejection earlier because now with all this room, you have a chance to set up that higher low on a 5-minute. See the ball, be the ball. It's true, though. When you're a kid, they yell at you for not going to the ball. And then when you're in college or semi-pro like myself, they yell at you for going to the ball too much, especially if you're a winger, especially if you're someone who's supposed to create space. So what we're trying to say here is the stock market is a lot of the time a let it come to you environment. Let's go look at the Qs for a sec. If you need weekly expected moves, by the way, we have those. Daily expected moves in the bottom right corner, but 532.49 to the upside. You have, sorry about that, 510.53 to the downside. If you want that 95% line, it's 499.55 if you're going to experience something bad. We did come up for, okay, so this is actually good from the Qs. The Qs are actually showing you more how we could head down. I want you to see the Qs took this out. So when you look at the Qs, they aren't making the new high, right? They already failed to make the new high. And then we broke through this. That's kind of a big deal, right? That's kind of a big deal to break both of these. And where do you find support? Oh, right on the monthly move. So actually, weirdly enough, the Qs are still suggesting we have more work to the downside. The Qs are a better indication right now of we could see more, a lower expected move tested. It's once we do this, that starts to go off the table again. Once we do this and cross through this high right here, boom, then you just start to do things like that, or you start to see extended and go like this. And you're looking for all new signals here, right? So if this confirms, look at all these divergences on the 30-minute, bam, bam. If this would confirm up, you're going to have to remake those signals, and then you'll see something like this to turn that 2-hour down. With a soccer ball, I can kick the full length of a soccer field. I used to train by myself every single morning. That's why I became a great player. I could kick the ball, I don't know about right now, but in my prime, I think I could kick a ball about 100 yards, 110 yards, almost the full length. I don't think it was that. I think it was like, because I was when I practiced it, I was on a shortened field. I got to take that into consideration. I would give myself a range and say I can kick a ball about 70 to 100 yards. Yeah, that's like one of the first things I was good at as a kid, was kicking the ball really far. That's why they played me in defense, and then we played the fast guy up front, and the job was, okay, goalkeeper saves something, he gives it to Luke, Luke kicks ball far. I think we get downside a hammer on SPY and the QQQ today. I think the Qs agree with you. I think the Qs overall agree with you. They have such a big zone here. Such a big zone here. That I think the Qs more so agree with, like, hey, we have more work to downside to be done, and this is just a test. But it's such a bullish, nice 5-minute move that, man, who thought buying at the open was a good idea? Like, that's kind of crazy. But you're still at that inflection point for the Qs. Let's see if we can draw it up. Okay, you were able to take it back. That's pretty good. But remember, you're coming in from the downside, so you can reject at any point. What you want to see from here is you want to see that doodle up in here, break through, retest, go again, and then you start that 30-minute move to the upside. That's what you want to see. That's the market coming to you. That's the market giving you the trade. If it just goes blah, 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 you're like, oh, damn it, right? But you are not in the environment still where shorting is a very easy thing just yet. And I don't know if you'll be in that environment even for very long. Like, I think it could resolve itself over the next, like, 2 weeks. I think you could go through, like, a week and a half of selling. Yeah, now, how far could I kick a ball now? Probably like 40 to 60. Like, I would really draw that back. My legs were insanely strong back then. I weighed like when I played at my prime, I was like 170, and I could squat like 350, which, like, you know, now we're, oh god, this is turning into a Rumble stream. How much do you lift, bro? You look at Netflix. Let's go take a peek. Netflix, I'm worried about still. I mean, you guys know that this thing has been squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. The reason I'm worried about Netflix is it keeps showing you pathways lower and then ends up going higher. So right now you're looking for bullish trades. You're looking for it to switch. And on the 2-hour, that would mean you have to see a break of this level again. On the 30-minute, what would you need to see a break of, right? That's what you're probably wondering. Weirdly enough, right below you, right? Did we break this right here? Nope. I believe this is like 1 cent higher. Let's see. The low, 117222. The low, 117223. Yep, 1 cent higher. So that means you still have the opportunity for potential upside, weirdly enough. Now you're looking for that game to change, but it hasn't shown you it in price yet. I did notice the little sell-off with Bitcoin as we hit our actual line. Finally, you did make some interesting things here. And you're reading into this just like, oh, there's that sporadic move. I'm sure people will start to talk about like Wyckoff or something on the 4-hour. You have 4-hour divergence here. So you're looking for a break of pretty much 100,000 and then a retest of the zone to actually head lower. But if this is able to, this is not bearish stance at all yet, by the way. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Not bearish at all yet. You got to lose this, right? Lose it, retest, go lower, and then you might be testing into here on what? On the daily time frame. Daily time frame could go boom, 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 boom. And look at that. That would be such a nice what? Pull back. Curls up into positive territory. This is exactly, we do want to see this. I would rather us go like sporadic move just to show a wick up there, just to show we can do it, right? Kind of like the 4-minute mile talk, right? Just show we can do it. But if it's not going to, hey, reload now, come into this area, and then turn up into positive territory to break through the zone. And then we'll watch out for daily divergences and traps up towards these levels. But I think we could get all the way to like 129K. That was at least the measurement that I had. And I brought it in just a little bit, but brought it in like 2 or 3%. Yeah, everyone trying to short right now. Or not everyone, but neutral to bearish right away. Neutral towards bearish, still neutral bearish. See if that can go really bearish all of a sudden. I don't think you'll see. I think you'll more so just sit in that neutral, kind of show some chop for a second. Chop, 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 chop. And then we pick a direction. Bulls on parade. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go, dude. Get your gains and get out. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. That's this environment. It's see a nice move, take a play with conviction, see a nice move, get the hell out, make your 50 to 100%, and say, I'm waiting for the next one if you're, day trading or something. I think this environment is super like, hey, see a bad open, everyone's reading into blood. People who probably like to fade downward moves, right? They just bam, then they go, okay, I'm out. They probably got out throughout this entire thing, depending on their risk level, or they said, okay, if it gets to here, I sell half, or they move the stop up, move stop up, move stop up. Right now, your stops are probably here. So that's probably what would go on. Loving a bull trap this morning. I think you have a high likelihood that it could be a bull trap this morning. I'm just not willing to bet money behind it yet. It's at 63. I'm going to go look at that on my other charts. Hey, TLT, starting to come back a little bit. Is it outside the monthly? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. Hood, still holding a very, very nice trend. Still holding the 30-minute trend. Right, did not lose 57. So no pathway down, which means it is still up. If it stops here and rolls, that could be your lower high. Then you start some kind of downtrend, but right now it's suggesting, hey, I'm going to try to make a new high. I'm going to try to take profits on target. I have no position in the market right now. I think I'm going to snag a TLT for a few weeks and then see how it behaves. Yeah, I'm not inclined to. I don't see enough obvious things for me, right? I want it to be blatantly obvious when I take a trade, at least to me. And I think you have the opportunity to squeeze still because you're really seeing a build back here. But if this is a retest, I'm sure day traders will clamp down on it. That's just not my conviction yet. I would rather us do this, and then I would take maybe this play and see if we're able to ride that a little bit higher. Just a little bit higher would be super crazy. Right? Like getting that. Why? Why am I inclined to that? I mean, the 2 hour is so bullish, man. The 2 hour is so bullish that you realize that in order for the 2 hour to go bearish, it's like here. So if we curl that 2 hour up, even if we go down to here and curl it up, even if we break this and curl up, this would still be a nice little trade right there. But as the weekly expected moves aren't even, this is the 95% line. We always pay attention to this one first. If it comes down into here and just curls up, I think you're going to set a trap for like 600. We would pay attention to 60304. Which just says we're even more bullish. And the daily pullback will, that run, that summer run would be even better. So I want price to get down to here, if that helps you with anything. And if you notice this too, look at the 30-minute. Remember the 30-minute, in order to set that pathway down, has to lose this. Look at the 30-minute MACD, right? It's not saying anything like that. Look at your weekly expected move. Even it is kind of with you to the bull side, to say like, hey, even if we did this, you would get a reaction up, right? Then this would be more the opportunity. If once you see that reject turn down, you could say, okay, risk on a little bit here for downside. We see something bad. That is where you see something awful. Once you get outside of the moves, you can see crazy things. You're not outside of it at all. You are still bullish here. I would say maybe you could say neutral to bullish because we broke the previous 30-minute low. I think TLT looks good to the upside. I think it's a first position, so it's nothing like crazy. That does not show the pathway higher yet. I am utilizing the weekly and monthly expected moves and the 10-year yield and how that is behaving right now. I think the 10-year yield could continue for another 30-minute move, right? But as the 2 hour, showed a way lower, then saw a massive reaction, it kind of set things up for TLT by a monthly expected move that could reject and just turn to the upside. This could still have a lot more time, though. I mean, you look at this 30-minute chart, it's dipping down into negative. That negativity could continue, right? We could see negativity, we could bounce up, we could see more negativity, then we go like this, and we go like that, then we actually take out this. So I don't think it's like a for sure thing. I think that taking a massive play here is usually not the best choice in the world. It's a very risky choice, but having a position here I don't think is like bad. You just have to have your management for the trade tools, your plan for if things are going to go wrong. And you have to understand when it's actually bullish again, right? So you can hold on to it. If it goes up like this, this is why the management of the trade in the course, right? This is why the management of the trade in the course is if you reject like this and the 15-minute just rolls over really early, right? For a 30-minute play. If the 15-minute just does this and rolls, well, that already showed you. So if that starts to roll, you go, I don't want to be in calls, right? But if this 15-minute would burst through and then roll here, that's a lot different story. Your MACD is going to look like this, right? Your price action is going to tell you, okay, we're taking out that previous high, so let's retest and actually go higher. I don't necessarily have to sell at that point. I could actually use the retest as a way to buy more, right? So we'll talk about this stuff as we update that full technical analysis course that's on sale. We will do this type of stuff, okay? We will talk about management for the trade using price action and our management for the trade. I like that management for the trade section because it's very simple. Right? Once you get into price action, people start to look at shorter time frames. So I really wanted to give you something really simple, like, hey, is this able to go negative? Okay, I need to be out. Hey, is this? But now we can add to that at the end of the course so you can get a little bit better, right? It's fine to add to the course over time because your point is to get a little bit better, a little bit better. You never want to jump ahead, right? You don't want to be studying addition and go straight to multiplication all of a sudden. No, you want to stick with addition as addition is working for you. And then you go, oh, I want to get a little bit better. I want to get a little bit smarter. I want to have a little more tools under my belt. Okay, then I'm going to start to look at price action, aka multiplication. And then you can multiply, and multiplication is what? It's multiplicative, so it's better than, say, addition, right? So what we should see here is more tomfoolery, and I would like to see us come down to that weekly expected move this week, downside. Doesn't that mean stocks would be bearish? Yeah, I think TLT could show the opposite of stocks. That's actually my inclination here is TLT is going to show that it wants to go up. Stocks would then maybe pull back and actually pull back into these type of areas. And then stocks will catch up to TLT. And then we'll see that moment where TLT and stocks actually are able to maybe even go up at the same time. The environment can change, right? If TLT is going down, down, down while the SPY is going up, and then it starts going up while the SPY goes down, but then the SPY holds price, they can go up together, right? As far as hood goes, you're not seeing a reaction to show you that pathway higher. Be careful for the 30-minute roll. Yeah, you are perfectly... I want to show you a hood, maybe. Let me draw it up before we talk about it. Because this is a very good little, like, tiny zone. Look at this. Look at this. This is so cool. For your hood plays, if you're not making the new high, you can get rejection here. Now, do I want to get bearish before it's actually like bearish? No, this is the lower high. So now you're looking for it to beat that low, get a reaction, and then you kind of see that trend way down, right? Or you're looking at a 5-minute in here and just going, okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, we ride that down. So that so far, not so good for hood is what I would say. Let me look at the move here. I wish I had weekly moves for this, but I think this gap fills pretty good. Yeah. Let's go back over to... Let's go to that 10-year. 10 years just dropping now. You look at Walmart. Yeah. I don't like Walmart's business choices right now. Walmart's being really fucking stupid. Walmart is being really, really dumb. But as far as it stands... Oh my gosh, we actually got the wick down. We suggested looking at that price point about 92, and you actually wicked all the way down to 91.93. So this is still bullish. Ooh. Yeah, I think it's still bullish now. So this means the 2-hour can try to make that move. Yeah, 30-minute showed you pathway higher, and 30-minute now has to lose a dramatic price. So I think it could head down with the market like this week and next week. But overall, I think this is still in a good stance. I don't like Walmart's business moves, though. Like me, I would not be, like, me personally, I don't like the business moves that they're choosing to do. But I don't think it looks like bad. No. If you kind of pull up Walmart, here, I'll pull it up. Oh. I'll try to pull it up for you guys. Kind of look at this from the 2-hour perspective. You're kind of going, oh, crap. We lost this. But it was so quick to the downside that look at that buying stepping in with the earnings. I don't think you're inclined to be like, oh, yeah, we're fully back on the bull side yet. But we talked about this, and we talked about this. And I actually thought we would see like up into down, then we go. Now you're seeing like down into up, and I'm talking about the market possibly getting a pullback. So that means look for this to actually remain positive, maybe actually roll from here. That would show you more how you would end up testing that level again. And really, if you're looking for a test now, you would use like the wick, I think. I think you would just mark off this wick. And you would say, as long as I'm not losing that, I'm okay. And you would say, look for something in here, right? It's a different kind. It's not block resistance like we're going to go over in the course, but it is something to watch for. Hey, that's where the buyers stepped in, right? That's the main thing about these zones. It's like you're looking for the areas where buyers started to step in. It just happens to be in the center of a lot of time, a lot of the consolidation. But for something like Walmart right now, it's the buyers really stepped in at that wick, right? So if we need to revisit those levels to go grab buyers, that might be your opportunity, right? To set up what? A higher low, right? You see how Walmart could literally do this and then still have a higher low and still be positive on the MACD and still be good to go, right? If it wants to just curl up now, it wants to curl up now. If this is the higher low now and it curls up, well, then you're likely to take out that high and continue the pathway higher. And if the 2 hour is able to get above here, then there's not a lot of things going on. So I'm not necessarily like bearish on Walmart. I think it's setting up potential to go bearish for a moment to retest where those buyers came in on the 2 hour time frame. But I'm not someone who pays a lot of attention to Walmart. I think if you're invested in things like Walmart, I know it's kind of a your opinion, my opinion thing, but if you did not know, Walmart is one of the only like grocery store companies that is trying to push the increase in price of tariffs, and they're potentially going to increase price by like 100 or 200%. That's what I heard. That's what I saw. And so if Walmart does that, I don't think they're understanding that people can just go to Target at that point. If you didn't know this, Walmart is one of the most corrupt companies in our whole like ever, like in the whole country's history. Walmart's one of the most corrupt companies. If you did not know that already, their whole model is low price. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The things that they're suggesting they are going to do won't work. They will go out of business. They will go out of business. Me myself, I'm not investing in them because they're a corrupt company. If I thought they were a good investment, I would do it. I just think Target's better. It's a better price. They are not trying to push the cost onto the consumer for the most part. They are not threatening the consumer with or threatening the political spectrum with 200% increases. Nothing about the tariffs would say a 200% increase in price is the right thing to do for Walmart. Nothing. Like even the percentage just doesn't make sense. I don't know why they would start saying those things. Talk your book, yeah. I think Costco has a very level head about things. Now, Costco's kind of in that same boat of like membership fees. A lot of the time it's hidden in the membership fees. You guys know that Costco makes most of their money from the membership fee, not necessarily product, right? They said they will not be raising price. Oh, good. Okay, good, Sid. Thank you for the update. They had to say in earnings so they are not sued if the tariffs go completely wrong. They need to eat the price just like everyone else. Like this is the scenario of like this is why I don't get why lefties aren't for this in some way. The tariffs are, and I'm not talking badly about anyone politically. Don't care. Tariffs are a good way to actually make the rich make less money. They will have to eat some of that, or else they won't be able to sell things because you won't be able to afford it. That's why I'm saying Walmart's stupid for even saying that. It is probably an empty threat, in my opinion, because they would go out of business. If they did that for 2 years, they would go out of business. Well, they wouldn't get, I don't think they would get sued for raising prices, but Walmart does something very cheeky. Okay, so Walmart has employees, right? And these employees make low income, right? They make low income. So these employees then get what? Some form of government funding, right? Food stamps and all that stuff. And then they go and they spend that money on Walmart. And then Walmart pays them, pays the employees. And you have this cycle here. This is one of the most corrupt things that Walmart does. And this is why you see like Walmart not having the best prices anymore. Because they know that their employees are government funded. And anyone connected to Walmart in any way, and low income families are encouraged to go to Walmart, right? That's one of the most corrupt things in our society that no one talks about. That is a recipe for like, oh, it looks good on the surface, but it's not necessarily a good thing. It is all to funnel things back into them with free government money. That is never a good thing. No. They do not have, the outlook is not for the end consumer. The outlook is for stealing government money. That's why it's bad. Sounds like Apple. Sounds like a lot of companies. So what do you think these companies are going to do, by the way, when all this stuff starts to get finished up? Maybe in 2026. Why are we still like macro side, guys? Don't forget, we're following price action week by week. We're following these weekly expected moves week by week. We're following the monthly expected moves month by month. What's my assessment on the market overall? We're leading up into turmoil unless something great, like absolutely, like the system changes somehow to where it's good. My outlook is still bad, but I think we could go make a new all-time high first. Good blueprint. And that's what I'm saying. It's good business. You would admit that is good business for them, but it's at the end of the day, you know, is that a recipe for success with what this administration is doing? I would say no. This administration is trying to clamp down on food stamps. They think people need to go back to work. There's going to be more jobs out there to compete. People are going to be able to go and say, well, if Walmart's raising their prices and Target's eating the cost, well, Target's going to be cheaper. Like, that's why that strategy makes no sense. F Wally World, Primal says. Yeah, Bitcoin's getting a pullback. It could get a daily pullback just like the market can. General area where we're paying attention to those type of things. We will be hopping off in about 20 minutes. We are still at this time leaning towards the weekly expected move downside, right? The 585 to get tested. We are looking for if we make a pathway lower, but we are also understanding, oh, sorry, there's a 15-minute. We are also understanding that the 30-minute is still positive and crazy things can happen. You know, still in this environment, even here, the 2-hour would say still risky to be trying to short, right? Even if you see an absolute flush here, it can still be good for the 2-hour. Look at this. If you see an absolute flush, is the 2-hour negative, right? We need to lose this, right? That's what we said for the 2-hour, but you really, really need to lose this for this to be bearish for the 2-hour. I know it's crazy, right? But this is a super bullish move. So why would you expect it to flip bearish really, really quickly if it's a super bullish move? You know, don't think it's like overly bearish until it actually is, and that's when it becomes more bearish. The 30-minute here, great to lose this, right? But ultimately wants to lose this to head down. Then we can start to talk about losing this stuff. But for this week, it says it's very likely not on the table unless you see something crazy. And as that news that came out over the weekend wasn't crazy, you have a lot of Fed speakers and things like that. I think since we didn't see the crazy thing on Monday, I think you have to pay attention to the fact that we could still go test 600. This is why we put out the video on Sunday, the very lengthy video talking about how things go bearish and how this is not. And we also berated you guys a little bit for like 15 minutes being like, you have no fucking idea where this price is going to open. Stop acting like you do. People are saying 565, 575, 580. Guess what? 588. So if you said India deal, wasn't that supposed to come like today? So that would be potential upside into like Tuesday, Wednesday if that came to fruition. I would like to still see a downward move again before then. Pretty much I want like a 5-minute ABC. So pretty much I want to see 5-minute go, and then look here and see if we get some potential news, see if we make that pathway lower. And even if we make the path, like that's the hard part about this market. It's like, even if we make the pathway lower, you can literally turn up a 2-hour and end up seeing 600 by the end of the week. That's why I'm saying this will take, a lot of people saying, oh, we'll be done with this in 3 days. In 3 days, we're going to hit 575, we're going to hit 565, we're going to be done. Maybe, but I'm more inclined to look at, reality and my weekly expected moves and focus on like, hey, why don't I look for the signal that tells me we're getting there? Why don't I look for the price action that tells me we're getting there first? And really take into consideration how irrational this move has been. And now I'm expecting it to just all of a sudden not be irrational. Yeah, it could have not been irrational if you saw that gap below to 580 and then you retested 587 and then you broke down again, then you could see your 3-day pullback and be done. But for the time being, you didn't get that. SMCI is selling like shovels with AI bull run. I think we looked at SMCI a little bit yesterday. I kind of was interested to look at that again. Because like the 30-minute tried to show you that pathway higher, so this is not bearish right now. It's showing you the inclinations from your signals that it could go bearish. So I understand if you have a weekly range and or a monthly range, weekly range, and you're risk to rewarding in some way. But you still, in this area, need to fully break 41, 42 to start that like downtrend. Then you could see a little ABC move to the downside. Then you can tap into like 36 or 35, and that would be great for SMCI. I'm more inclined to pay attention to reality. It's facts though, right? I can guess whatever on the weekend, but now what are you doing now that if you guessed over the weekend, right? If you really were guessing, what are you doing now? That's why guessing is like, it's okay. Like you understood there could be a sell-off a little bit on Monday. We talked about that. Some kind of rug pull starting today. It started and then it stopped right away. So now that it is stopping, is it going to continue to go down? Well, the 5-minute is suggesting you go down further still, right? Because we opened the pathway down and we haven't made a new high, we're inclined to believe the 5-minute thinks we're going a little bit lower. If we see the 5-minute set up, what? High or low? Well, then the 5-minute's going to say you're heading higher. Pull the rug, damn you. Nope, it's once everyone gives up. Not enough people gave up. This 0.62 CPC wasn't enough. They want 0.59. Look at this, though. Look at that. Whew. People shorting again. And look at the 5-minute. It's just moving sideways, baby. You just built into the daily expected move. You did not reject from here, which told us what? Watch out if we do something like this. Come back into that again. Then you head to the upside, right? That'd be great. That'd tell you some direction. I can't sell it off easily if straight down, so down, up for more selling. I don't know why, but I keep having this little guy in my head. This little guy in my head. I don't know why. Maybe it's this guy. Maybe it's this guy going, why did this just happen? Did we not test the area we needed to test, or are we just going to keep breaking down? My guy's just, So I'm not inclined to take a play, right? I'm not inclined to take a play just yet. Because I think the plays are here at the weekly expected move is the possibility for a play. Whether that's upside or downside, we'll look at price action. And then I think the other play is like risk to reward somewhere at like 600. So I'm just this guy right now, watching the market, looking at it, chilling, keeping my eye over here on TLT as that thing starts to scale up. No good things from the 5-minute here, right? 30-minute time frame. Oof, we need to see a snapback. I hope, I pray that the market goes down to here in 3 days. I do. I would love it, guys. But they'd rather steal money from you the whole way. AKA, once you bought all those puts in the morning, now they send it up. Oh, you continue to buy puts? Okay, we'll just send it up a little bit higher. Then you'll buy calls. Then we send it lower. Yeah, that's what I think's going on here. Just a back and forth. Pretty interesting, Allison, wouldn't you say so? I think this is unique because a lot of people are calling another Black Monday. Another Black Monday call. You have confirmed multiple rejection divergences for SMCI. So you could start to reverse around, right? This is where risk, especially if you have a monthly or weekly expected move for SMCI, this is where being comfortable with like that first hedge-like position for the risk to reward play would be pretty fun. And then you just have to manage your trade if it goes wrong because it's still showing pathways up, not down. But I think you could see a time now where that starts to go the opposite way. AMD, similar situations going on here. AMD, is it showing you a pathway lower right now? Like right now, do you see it yet? No, you don't. You just don't. Don't think you do. Right? Because technically, you got to lose this. And then technically, you got to lose this to really be bearish. But for now, we had gotten this to give us a little hint. So if we're losing this, then we would say, okay, we're going to potentially continue to break down. But are we doing that yet? No. So if the 30-minute can find some ground in here and curl up, it's going to make an attempt to cross through this high. And if it crosses through this high, you could start to see the 2-hour continue to back off, right? We can see this ping pong around in here for a bit. Do this. And just note here that the divergence points are right here. So any kind of close above this level will set up that divergence. Remember what we were talking about with AMD for Friday, which is why I thought it was really fishy? We were talking about this. And if you see that, and you want to assume some risk, right? That's the hedge opportunity at that point. This level right here is the hedge opportunity in my mind. If you get price up to 121 to 122 again, the hedge opportunity is kind of there, but you are going against the trend. So understand why I'm calling it a hedge opportunity. Even if you don't have longs in AMD at that point, you treat the position size like a hedge. You don't want to risk too much money trying to call a top. If you're going to play the top game, you don't want to play the calling a top, calling a bottom game with a large amount of your cash. You want to do it with a very small one. Because if you're right, you're going to make plenty of money if you're right, right? If this 2-hour goes up and then you see something awful, won't those puts be worth something good, even if it's $500? Couldn't you times 3 that very easily, right? There's no point in having to make $1 million, right? The slow way is the fast way. And behavior like that is what really has helped me as a trader, is understanding like I'm taking a topping play, I'm shorting a potential squeeze still. So it would be hypocritical for me to take a full-on $1,500 to $3,000 position like I like to, or even $5,000 when I'm really, really, really feeling juicy about myself, right? That's the only amount of money I like to risk. I use 10% of the 20% of cash that I'm allowed to use right now, that I allowed myself. I'm still heavily in cash. I have a little investment over in Target. Right? I am not inclined. I am still like 75% in cash. And I can start dipping my toes in that investment with Target and look at those levels. Notice I'm not just blowing my load, right? But yeah, that's what you would see here. That would be very cool. That would be very cool. Which means what? If this did that, what would that mean for the SPY and the Qs? Well, that would mean the SPY and the Qs might see up. Right? I would like to see lower first, but, you know. Netflix is a beast. That's why. Once again, I'm not taking big plays with Netflix, right? Not my job. My job is not to necessarily call tops. I can make it one of the things I like to do. But my more successful plays are looking at those divergences, starting that position, watching a rejection, adding to the position, then watching it drop down, taking my money and running. I get you, Rajiv. What's the most percentage? I'm right now 5% of my investment money is in Target. Yeah. I use 20% right now is like I have available for options. 80% was in cash. I put 5% to work in Target, just saying, hey, you know, start a position there. If it goes lower, even if it goes down to $26, I'm investing, right? Once you are starting to invest, you have to realize what that investment means. That means I'm willing to hold it for 1 to 5 years. That's what it means to me. What does investing mean to you? I would say if you're looking at, like, do I pull up Target stock every day? Someone in the chat. The most ever? I like to sit at that 20%. Usually I'm always 20% in cash, and that can be utilized for options. But you notice that options, most of the time, I'm only using 10% of the 20%. So technically for options, you could say I use like 5%, I would say, of my actual money available for option plays. That is keeping it super small, right? Because options are a quick game. You can lose money fast, you can make money fast. Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's fine to ask. The important thing is you just don't want to be doing big portfolio, big cash moves with options, in my opinion, right? I think those videos you see online of people who make like, $10,000 in 5 minutes day trading, I think they're probably risking too much money. I'd just be a little bit cautious with Bitcoin. It's seen a solid run and it hasn't gotten the daily pullback. I think, yes, you're seeing it correctly here. The 2 hour looks like, hey, we're not giving it up yet, but look at the pathway lower slightly being opened up here. Do you see that? Now, this could be different, right? Bitcoin, I don't necessarily, think the best of Bitcoin when it comes to like price action. I'm more inclined to look for divergences and things like that. And you do have one now. Okay, you do have that divergence very close to the center line. Look how deep that is. So I would like a pullback here. And then you look at the management of the trade. It's like, okay, I'm down. Okay, cool. And then you look for this and you go, hey, if that curls up, it's good, right? It's going to break through. But if that would go up to here and reject, right? Reject from where those sellers came in, bam, we turn down again and you go test 100K. You haven't lost the super critical levels. This is one of those levels, but these are the more critical ones right now. It's still not that bad. That's the rough part. So am I like bearish on Bitcoin? No. I think that in the next few weeks, you're going to see a daily pullback from Bitcoin. If it explodes higher, it explodes higher. I don't care. I'm not risking money in Bitcoin at 100K. It's just not my thing. People are saying it's going to go to 400K, 500K, 600K. And then people are going to say it's going to 10K, 20K, 30K. I'm going to say it's going to be in the middle of that. I'm going to say 129K, right? Reality is, what is it? What's the phrasing that we were using when we were talking about things like that? Here's what it is. Okay, here I'll explain. The craziness in people calling stuff. Let's take into consideration today. Let's take into consideration today and take this with a grain of salt, but take it over to Bitcoin. All right, so everyone expected. Let's do a 30-minute. Everyone expected that this would be awful today, right? Okay, these people said, oh, this is terrible, minus 10% open. These people over here, they said what? They said, oh, well, we're actually going to gap up. Okay, so someone was saying, oh, we're going to crash by 10%. Someone was saying we're going to open Monday down 10%. Some people were saying no, this is still fine. It's super bullish. We're going to gap up, 2% or something like that. Who is the most right? The people in the middle. Who is the most right? This guy. All right, this guy just sits right there and he pays attention to you, and he pays attention to you, and then he thinks for himself. And he goes, yeah, it's probably not minus 10%. That's a little dramatic, right? He's just common sense. That's probably dramatic. Haven't seen price action yet. Gap up, we've seen a pretty big move. Some kind of pullback, at least a little pullback for the regular trend to continue makes sense. So it's probably just like, probably a regular pullback. What do you get when you open up? A regular pullback. You never want to be in the extremes until you have a reason to be a part of the extremes, right? I do think that these people have an argument. I don't think it's a 10% argument, but I think they have an argument, and that argument is probably right about here. but they don't know exactly when that's going to happen. They tried to say one day. I'm saying like 2 weeks, we could get like a 6% pullback. That's a lot more level-headed. That has a lot more chance to actually become reality, right? You will see moments where you go into that up and down, but people are bad at calling those moments. So if everyone's calling one of those moments, it's not going to happen. This is why I've been able to make 2 thumbnails this year and say, ooh, Black Monday. And then right at the beginning of the video, I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be Black Monday. What up, Ripper? How you doing? I don't think 580 is like that dramatic, but once you get the weekly expected moves, it should snap you back to reality and be like, if I don't see something crazy in the first like day, second day, then we're probably not getting to 580. Oh, it was Orange Monday. Wedge pattern on the SPY 5-minute. Where? I mean, I'm sure like these things are great, guys. Like drawing these type of lines, it is good, right? I'm not saying this is bad if you're drawing stuff like this up, okay? I don't think it's bad. And I think you're paying attention to the right things, right? But overall, did we need these lines to understand what's going on here? We already understand this was taken out. This is going up to retest. This is still negative. This can roll from here to trap people. And I said, I really want this, right? You can take a measured move and do all that good stuff and go like this and pull it down and go like, okay, we broke here, but now we're going to break over here. Okay, 580 is on the table. Like, I don't think 580 is ridiculous. I just don't think you should be like looking for 565. Like even 575, I didn't see as totally ridiculous, but 565 is like, wow, we are crashing. You think that kind of a drop is going to encourage people to buy? I don't think so. And you're going to go super negative gamma on like daily time frame. So, but as of right now, you're paying attention to what's actually happened. Well, buyers stepped in throughout all of this, then these might be FOMOers. So really, if you're not losing like the bulk of this, right? If you're not losing all of that, there's really no way lower, right? Now you have to lose a ton, which is a problem. So don't be bearish yet. I understand if day traders are starting to go, hey, this is a good level for us to roll because we're retesting up in here. Okay, roll it. But are they going to play that all the way to here? Maybe. The daily expected move says, you could maybe get a play down to like here, which is about where that buying starts up, actually. So, I don't know. Just got to be patient. Oh, I do. Oh, I do, Jake. I'm not suggesting that 565 is impossible in the next few weeks, Jake. Make sure we're understanding what I'm saying here. I'm saying that people were saying 565 in 3 days. I don't see it. I don't see it. I could see 565 by next Friday, next Thursday. And like I think it was Dave or someone was saying, it's more that chop down, chop down, chop down, steal money from both sides. That's what the market maker wants to do. I love crashes in index funds. How would I recommend growing a small account? Working a job. Working a job and saving. It depends on how young you are. But yeah, if you want to grow an account, don't risk money yet. Or put it to dividend stock, like something that's cheaper. And put that money to work in a dividend stock that you see as a good investment for the next, like, say, if you're young, 20 years. And work a job. The easiest way to grow an account early on is to not do anything and work a job and save $100 to $300 a month and save for a full year. After that year end, you'll have like $5,000 saved up almost. I'm sorry to be that guy, but that's the truth of it. I am not someone to ask a question about how do you turn a $1,000 account into a $20,000 account in a year. Do you want to know the best way to do that? Go work a job, cut out Netflix, cut out all the streaming services, Just cut your cell phone bill down to an actual data plan. That way you're not paying a bunch for your cell phone. Switch to Mint Mobile. That's what I did, and I've saved countless amounts of money because I was never using enough to have unlimited. Like I was never using enough. So I was like, why am I paying, $700, $800 a year? Oh, I can pay $240 a year. That's awesome, right? Bollinger Bands. Yeah, we can look at Bollinger Bands if you're excited about them. We don't utilize them too much. Bollinger Bands are very good for like testing. And paying attention to one thing. Let's see. I got to pull this up because we need this for this talk. Okay, so do you see this right here? Right there. This is one of the only things that I really like about Bollinger Bands is when you get this cross, and the 9-day crosses or I'm sorry, I think it's 5-day. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a Bollinger Band person could help. If the 5-day, I believe it's the 5-day crosses the 20-day. Right here, see the blue cross the yellow? That is usually a good sign that you are going to try to go test the topside band. And look at this. We don't get there. You almost do. And then you get there. Right? That's how Bollinger Band people think about it. So do you know what Bollinger Band people are probably saying right now? I can do this for you. Let's do SPX. I have less drawings there. So Bollinger Bands would say what? Well, eventually this is going to kind of do this and come up to this type of area. And you might see this get close to here, aka maybe you end up going a little bit sideways, and you'll see this 20 kind of catch up to the 5. And then you'll see it cross. And then when that cross happens, you're very likely to see price doing this. And then you're going to go down towards that Bollinger Band, and then you're going to bounce. That's how Bollinger Band people would read into this. And they would say that this, at this time, would maybe spread out up and then come back in. And then as that's starting to burst through, this would start to stretch that Bollinger Band up. This one right here, it would start to stretch up. And then you would kind of ride that 5-day on the way up. Yeah, so it's when the 5 crosses down through the 20, you can test bottom Bollinger. You can see an example of that right here. We cross down, we ride that bottom Bollinger, we bounce, we do not cross, so we do not go to top Bollinger, we fail, and then we go down even lower to test bottom Bollinger throughout this entire thing again. We ride that bad boy till we do what? We take back the 5 for a moment, take back the 5 confidently with the 2-hour. You see that cross. The cross was here. And then you see that cross. And then you go up to what? Top Bollinger. And now you're looking for that time where it kind of just goes, crosses through, and you start to do this until this catches up. Yeah. Very cool. Very good question. I haven't really done Bollinger Bands in a long, long time, so that was a good refresher for myself. I appreciate you asking. Yeah, you can utilize it that way. I like price action. I like the weekly and monthly ranges better. You don't see me pulling up Bollinger Bands a lot, but it is something you can use as, I wouldn't say in your first 3 reasons for a trade. I wouldn't even maybe put it in the 5 reasons, but more of like a 6th or 7th or 8th reason that can make you more confident with the play. Learning to keep what you have is what you need to learn. I don't think that's a bad thing either. But yeah, I'm sorry to be that guy that's like, the best way to grow an account early on is to not do anything or put it into a stock like, I don't know, some kind of good stock like this. I don't know, this is a pretty good stock. I'll shill it out. I think it could still go wham, by the way. I am prepared to make some moves right here. $60K is enough to trade. I think 20K is enough to trade. It's just, I think any amount's enough to trade. It's just, treat 20K like it's 20 or $200,000 and say, oh, I can make plenty of money with like, if I was trading 200K, I can make plenty of money trading with options and utilize like $10,000. Right? You can make plenty of money if you're good. So if you have 20, then you would say, oh, okay, well, I can utilize like $2,000. maybe I use a small position, medium position, large position, and $2,000 is my large position. $1,000 is my medium position. $500 is what I mostly use. And I would say sticking around that $500. If you're able to make an extra $500 a week or even $500 a month, that's an extra $6,000 a year, right? That's not bad. Not bad, right? Do you need to make more than that? If you only have 20K and you make $6,000, do you really need to make more than that? Probably not. And then you could just invest all the other cash. You could literally say, okay, I'm going to keep 5,000 out for options just in case, but I'm only going to use 2,000 and a minimum level of 500. Maybe I only risk 500 all the time, right? And then you just go, but 15,000, I'm going to invest in something with a dividend that looks like a cheap price. It's Tesla. Tesla is still flagging. Showed pathway higher. 2 hour. Yeah, Tesla needs a continuation for the 2 hour. We're going to make 2 hour divergence probably first. No glazing, you're super smart. Yeah, I appreciate that, right? Took me a long time. And I'm not someone who will call myself super smart. I just try to understand things. I like to learn, right? Something early on too that's very good if you're looking at stocks and things like that is just be open to learning. And that's good for everyone. You should never stop learning because it makes life fun. Like, what's something you always wanted to learn how to do? I've always wanted to learn to do drums. I plan on learning to do drums. If not that, I plan on, having my daughter try to do an instrument and like kind of helping her with music. I think that would be a lot of fun. I did some of the things that I set my mind out to do. So that's what I would say. Just always learning. If I'm a price action guy, I shouldn't even be looking at an indicator. If you're saying, I don't know who's bringing up these trend indicators, but if you are if you're a price action person, your screen could look like this and you could be successful. If you just plainly do price action, your screen could look like this. This is too much, actually. Sorry about that. Your screen could look like this. Right? And what are you doing? You're going, oh, okay, well, we started downtrend or downtrend. I'm looking for the retest into where? Well, the retest into the whole block. Oh, thankfully, we made a little mini block right here. Okay, cool. Oh, we test into that. We fail. Okay, so the trend's down. If I see any kind of bounce from here with a pathway lower, I can short that thing, right? Looking in hindsight, by the way, easy here. This was a reversal signal, and it failed. So don't think that like I got things right here. This is where I lost money. I want to be clear about that because I think a lot of people on the internet act like they don't. I'll say it again. I've said it multiple times about that area. I lost money there. I believe it was on JP Morgan. And if I would have held on to it, I believe it came back actually. Remember when I was so pissed about that? It came back. I had time to expiration. I just didn't. I was like, nope, I'm out. And yeah, I wanted to be clear about that because I've made money a lot throughout this run. Right here, actually here, made money. But here I lost money. I want to be very clear about that. Right? I don't want you guys thinking like I'm some, like Donald Lump says, magic box man. But yeah, if you're doing price action, you literally, like I would use weekly expected moves still if I was doing price action alone. Yeah, the best people. So Metsicus, I would say just try to get even better, right? Try to be one of those people who really understands price action on the time frames that you like, right? Make sure it's catered to you, but really just focus price action, price action, price action all the time, right? And you might not even like trade while you're learning it because price action is very cool for paper trading. Actually, you can see where you would put the risk on and off and things like that. But yeah, focus on that. Don't look for an indicator to do the work for you. Okay. at that point. If you really want to do just price action and be like a day trader or be like a 2DTE trader or something like that and take a nice little trade once or twice a week or something, I don't know how you want to do it. I would really just be looking at the bars, looking at the candlesticks, looking at everything like that. I don't think you, and maybe weekly and monthly expected moves for risk, but during that, yeah, I dropped the crystal ball at that point. We've crystal balled this thing for a little bit though, which is nice. Everyone was talking so drastically, and we were good. Emilio, thank you. I've looked at some just some what's it called? Some snare drum training. I have a little beat pad and stuff like that, so I still do snare drum training from time to time. A lot of people remain bearish the entire time from January to May. Seems exhausting. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Just you guys, like, be humble about it. Even if you're wrong, you could be wrong for a minute or you could be wrong for a month, right? If you're wrong for a minute, it's fine. If you're wrong for a day, it's fine. If you're wrong for a week, it's fine. If you're wrong for a month, if you're wrong for 2 months, if you're wrong for 3 months, it starts to become very much so not fine. Just admit it's fine. I had to admit I was wrong right over here. I was wrong right here on this gap, but I was quick to react. I did the best thing that I saw for me. And then a new trade popped up right here. A new trade popped up right here. A new trade popped up right in here. Right? This one was a little bit risky, but I had some conviction behind it. Right? It's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong. You're wrong. Everyone in this channel has been wrong before. Yeah, you have to just accept it. Yeah. All right, guys, we're reaching 10:15. I was actually supposed to get off like 15 minutes ago. My wife's probably going to yell at me, but we got some things going on today. I'm actually going to look into a person who might be helping me out soon. That would be very, very nice. Take some load off of me for a little bit, but we will still have the live show at the end of the day today. If you're looking at this for the time being, you are building another little block, which is very, very interesting. You are still overall in that worrisome area for the MACD to go negative to try to take out this low. But notice all the buyers that stepped in. So you have to wipe out that entire thing to get to that weekly expected move. This means that in this area, right, if you see a new high, you don't necessarily want to be fooling around with it too much. If you see a new low here, well, then you're still continuing some kind of downtrend at this point, as you have lost the first key 30-minute level, but this is the critical 30-minute level for this week, and you have a weekly expected move down there for it. So thank you guys. Oh, a little hiccup. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Pay attention to your plays, and whenever you take a play, just make sure you have that plan for if it goes wrong, right? That humbleness keeps us good, keeps us paying attention to the fact that we can be wrong at any moment, but we have a plan for it. So thank you guys for being here this morning. Thanks for liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic, and I will see you towards the close. Peace. Wait, what's JP Morgan doing real quick? I was worried about this one. I was really worried about JP Morgan. Oh, looks like I had the right inclination to be worried about JP Morgan. JP Morgan, if you didn't know, this thing over the next 3 weeks could get down to 226, and I wouldn't be surprised. It could get down to this gap fill, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not necessarily leaning towards that. I still like the center point. I still like the top here towards this area. But if we start to lose this, be a little cautious with that one. But all right, guys, hopping off. Peace out. Have a good day. Maybe guys on some 5-minute or something real quick. Okay, I might take a look at this. Patreon members, just check back Patreon. We might put something out in the next, I think an hour from now, maybe 2 hours from now, right before we go live later. So be aware of it. Peace out.